Oh, I figured out what you are.
It's chaos. Yeah, you can only. I mean, we all know the game so well at this point that like you can only go so far before knowing what someone is using. But yeah, it's chaos.
Chaos.
The official chapter 1 of the Sparkwind Chronicles.
Yay.
Everything up to this has been a prologue. If you skipped the prologue, what are you doing?
Shame on you.
Go watch those children. It's great.
Watch this children.
Watch those children.
Watch those children.
These children.
These children.
Us children.
We're children.
We
We're
children.
Let's talk uppies and downies of episode 1, chapter 1.
All uppies.
Every minute
Every
that we
uppie.
play this is an uppie.
It's so much fun.
It was great.
Were there
Especially
any
little
downies?
uppies.
Yeah.
I got to pick up my friends.
Yeah.
I like playing a big person.
Fucking.
I'd say, like, one kind of downy is, like, Saoirse's father is clearly not handling the events
he's
well.
wow.
Oh.
He's
That's a bummer.
he's
Gonna have to think about how to cheer that guy up.
what was the guy
He just
from
needs to go work on a boat. Come on.
Fantasy High?
Oh,
Gallier vibes.
Yeah, it's giving Gilliard vibes.
I'm joking, but I'm gonna try to get him to go work with our friends.
You-
Like, you just need
Here's the thing.
responsibility.
He does have
You need to
go
think about other
somewhere.
things. Yeah.
He does have to go somewhere. But also, like, this working for the Seekers Guild, like, or having your Seekers Edict, you can get various jobs and come across wealth that you could then, like, send home to support him from
Sure.
afar.
No. I just don't think he can be alone.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm very interested to see what you do next time. Is if we actually like go into the mines, where they're called mines, or are they?
They're just ruins.
Ruins. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a.
Because technically, if you do that, you're going against the law.
Yeah, they were described to Magnus as like a tunnel complex
But
that
we're
was
not-
discovered.
We're not going in to like do archaeology. We're going in to like warn people because we've detected danger, and I'm pretty sure we won't get in trouble for that.
But would you be able to resist?
But I have studied a lot of law, so if I need to get us out of trouble, I can do my best.
He also let you know that like they've got permission to be doing this excavation in Lokvara. To go to Ilvermere, you would need the Seeker's Edict,
Yeah.
which is why he said that he would reach out to them. You shouldn't technically need anything to go participate in the one that's happening here because it's like school funded. Like the Seekers Guild, to do something that has been sanctioned by the Seekers Guild, you need to go through them. If you're like the Dawn Seekers would need to do that. The people who did Tuaravine would need to do that to be able to go to certain areas legally in different nations. But being associated with Vindavir University has its own kind of connection there.
Okay.
Does everybody who has to go through the Seekers have something Seekers in their name? Is that why the Dawn Seekers are that? Be like-
Not intentionally, but I mean, I would say things to consider before getting your Seeker's Edict. Well, you don't need to choose before, but like basically they're going to give you a thing to do, like an undertaking that you need to complete to prove that you can receive your edict. And then when you do receive your edict, you'll be expected to present a name for your group because they need to have that on record. So consider that.
We have to come up with a group.
I love it. I'm really excited.
Call ourselves Stick Nation. Stick Seekers.
Stick Seekers.
Seekers.
Can I ask a very vague question?
Yeah.
And get a very vague answer.
I'm gonna
I
give you
want
the
a very
most
direct answer.
Ah, fuck.
This bottom part, casting time, 8 hours or what?
No, I'm going to say it's instantaneous.
Okay, cool. Well, I was hoping. If it was still 8 hours, I'd be like, God damn it.
Yeah, because I think the trade-off for that one is
Yeah,
kind of
makes sense. Yeah,
balances it out. The fact that you can only have one.
yeah.
Have you, out of curiosity, and remaining vague, have you used that before?
No.
Excellent. Yeah, I kind of got the implication as we kind of like shared some glances in some moments. I think the implication here is that eventually the sword went back inside and hasn't come out for a while.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
So I imagine that I use an arcane focus for my spell casting in lieu of using a lot of components.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
And so what I'd like to use is a wand, but I want the wand to have a pearl affixed on it.
Yeah.
So that I can use that pearl for my identify component, because it's not consumed when you cast
Oh,
it.
that's cool.
I'm absolutely down for that.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to run that by you before I said it during the game that I had that.
Yeah, no, that sounds rad.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, anybody else have any like questions or concerns on spell casting and mostly I'm leaving the flavor up to you guys. Like specifically like this somatic components don't have to be the same as like what Magnus does for his somatic components for the other types of casting, especially for the ones that don't use it. I'm viewing the sources of magic being like the source is the same, but the access is very different.
Yeah.
So I'm open to like your flavor of how you do different things. It just depends on like mechanically. We do still need to know if there's like verbal or somatic components to see if you could be caught doing it.
I mean, I'm down to use them.
I really like the flavor of Audic's somatic components being a lot of like snaps and claps and like audible things that they do with their hands. I think that's
Like a loud component like that could be both somatic and verbal in a way. Like you're making a noise by doing the gesture, which is pretty awesome.
I would absolutely allow that.
Cool.
You ever seen, what is it called? It's like that Kid King Arthur movie.
Kid in King Arthur's Court?
No, it's newer.
Sword in the Stone.
No, it's newer.
It's newer.
Yeah, but
Really?
The Green Knight?
older, newer, somewhere in between. But like the guy that plays Merlin, who's also a kid, just does like weird, like shit.
Nice.
I'll show you. It's actually kind of a cool, like, it very much applies to D&D in a cool way.
That's right.
I'll look it up. It's cool.
I also like in the D&D movie how Judge... What's that?
Justice Smith?
Yes.
Yeah.
How he based a lot of the somatic components for his spells on ASL.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought that was really,
Oh,
really cool.
Yeah, that's badass.
I like that he had a focus or whatever. It's like a little mechanical thing that he was using too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was that when I read up on it, that was his component like dispenser.
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that.
Oh,
That's
fun.
rad.
Oh, neat.
That's cool.
Like the bat belt.
Yeah, utility belt. That's rad.
Time to cast spells. Yeah.
In the like prologue, whenever I was casting protection from evil and good, it requires like holy water, silver dust, or iron dust, and I was like, oh, maybe like the tears could be the component for that holy water because it's not holy or anything. It was just like, of the gods or something.
I like that a lot.
That's why I
Holy
was like,
water in
maybe
D&D
something
just
like-
seems weird too.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many
Yeah.
gods.
Like, what happens if an
religions.
evil god blessed the
Yeah.
water? Is it still holy water? Because it's technically divine magic. Yeah.
Well, they can bless, but they can also like unhallow or like
They can
Desecrate.
bless, but they
Defile.
can
Yeah.
also attack.
Yeah, hallowed water almost makes more sense, or blessed water or something.
yeah. Well, I think is it the ritual spell that lets you make holy water, or is it like I can't remember. It's in Xanathar's, I think.
Ceremony.
Or maybe, ceremony. That's what I was thinking of.
Do we want to, here in the Chaos Hours, do we want to divulge officially like race and class picks, or do we want to make the people wait?
Yeah, let's do it.
You can tell. Yeah, I don't mind.
I mean, this, for the people that consume the Chaos Hours, they can
Do not
be
know your
rewarded.
subclass. I've got,
You figured it out.
I guess, no. I don't know yours either necessarily.
I don't have a subclass yet.
So, okay.
Are you a
No, true.
We're still kind
Cleric?
of working
Technically,
on it.
I don't either. Wink, wink.
I am a Fearbolg and a cleric of the Trickery Domain.
Makes sense.
Nice. Okay, that does make
And the
sense.
fear bulk is what you can talk to animals through and
Yeah,
stuff. Right?
yeah. So instead
Yeah,
of,
we
speech,
flavored-
Beast of Leaf. It was, yeah.
Yeah, we flavored Speech of Beast and Leaf to be just speak with animals. That's
Yeah,
always on.
up. That's cool. I
like
like
that.
What about you?
that. Human warlock.
Nice. Yeah.
Just your average human wizard.
No tradition yet, right?
No, not yet. Though there's possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
We
So- Does that all come in at level 3?
Level
two
2.
for me.
Okay.
And Sam?
I'm a Fire Genasi Paladin.
Hell yeah.
Imagine
Class in progress.
that was your like detect good and evil ability.
That was
Divine.
Divine Sense.
Or
Divine
that-
sense,
or-
yeah.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was trying to like flavor it without, because like when you were asking questions about it, I didn't want to be like, it has to be within 60 feet for you to have sensed it.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to kind of insinuate that without saying aloud, like, you used divine sense. She used divine sense, everyone.
Everyone, look at her.
Announcement.
it's. I am very curious how people feel about that, like watching the games. If they care about what the actual underlying mechanic is, and they're like, "Oh, we want to know what the spell name is," and like.
I'm
how that
also
works.
curious.
Or if it's just like, this is just a narrative, and like, yes, it
Well-
does follow mechanics, but we're just kind of giving it the flavor.
Even then, it's like some of the like mechanics of stuff is like I don't take a patron until level 3, but by that time I've got invocations and other things going
Yeah.
on. It's
Yeah.
like doesn't make any fucking sense.
It
yeah.
really doesn't.
Yeah. I think particularly with kind of the state of D&D as written lately, I think people are more open to, for one, homebrew
Yeah.
entirely, but for two, just like let it just be the story when mechanics aren't necessary, you know, like outside of combat
Mm-hmm.
and even
Yeah.
inside of combat sometimes.
There was a really great article recently about Worlds Beyond Number, and I can't remember the exact title, but it was basically something along the lines of like how Worlds Beyond Number is proving that your game can be narratively focused and still be D&D. Because I guess there's a big argument that people are like, why not just use a different system that is built to be more narrative rather than D&D, which is built for combat? And the answer is, I don't think D&D is built for combat necessarily.
Yeah.
I think they've really fleshed it out because it's a big part of it typically, but it doesn't
And-
have to be that way.
We haven't had a single combat this whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that the book itself straight up says like, you know, these aren't rules that are set in stone. Like you can do whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah. I'm very much
Yeah,
like...
isn't that like page 1?
Yeah, I think so. I'm very much of a mind that like this story is a story. Like
Yeah.
we're telling a narrative here and the dice are guiding it, but it's also like it's not going to be like and then we fight and then we level up and then we fight and then we level up. It's going to be more like you'll be in dire situations, whether that's fighting something or whether that's stopping something from happening or helping someone trying to do a thing. But in ways that like tie back to your characters because it's about them. It's like the world is a character itself, but mostly the story is about you guys and your interactions in said world and what you choose to do and what not to do.
I thought it was funny. I talked to someone that had played their, I guess it was like session 0 that they did, but they never played D&D before, and like, how'd it go? And they're like, fine, I don't like rolling dice.
Oh, they like just the
They're like,
role-playing.
well, they're like, my character's supposed to be good at this thing, but then I roll bad, and then I'm bad at this thing, and I was like,
That's,
I get that, yeah, like, but even then,
So,
that weirdly kind of a thing that I think Kids on Bikes does better than D&D is like, if you're good at the thing, that you can be bad, but also generally you're good at that thing.
Yeah.
Like more than just like proficiency, because even like once you get really high level proficiency, you can still like you can still roll better at your bad things than your good things, which is kind of wild sometimes, you know.
Yeah. If this was a home game, I probably would have used the system that I came up with rather than D&D. But it was also going to be like vastly different. Like the world was going to be vastly different. But yeah, it's like a kind of a meshing of the two, where it's similar to Kids on Bikes, where you have the 6 stats, where there's like 3 physical, 3 mental, and you allocate a die size to each of those, but you roll that in conjunction with a d20. So like you have one stat that you're incredibly good at. You're always rolling 2 d20 and adding those together to have your final number for the roll. and then there's another stat, like your worst stat would be rolling a d20 and a d4 and adding those together to have your final number. So like the DCs for checks are much higher because you are going to be on average rolling a lot higher. But instead of being class-based, it's skill-based. So there's like a series of questions, and similar to City of Mist, you answer a question, and your answer to that question is your ability. And you can kind of finagle, like, can I use this for doing this thing? But for the sake of having people want to watch the show, I decided to stick with D&D.
Well, and then people like, I think D&D shows do better on streaming because it's something that most people are familiar with if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's more widely accepted and more widely known at this point than other TTR. Like even Kids on Bikes and offshoots thereof get much lower viewership.
Yep.
Which, it's kind of a bummer that we have to base a system that we're going to use off of. Is anyone going to search for this and find it? But one day maybe we'll be big enough that it won't matter and we can do what we want.
I still like how we've evolved it to be like, especially with this campaign so far, to be more narratively based, because I think that it's more challenging creatively to when you roll shitty, it doesn't feel great, but then it gives you the creative challenge of how do you make that a narrative? And that is way more fun than just constantly rolling well.
That's basically my response to them.
And
so
so
it's the dice have a story to tell, and it just facilitates that story through me.
I had a design teacher that talked about how they hate the phrase "think outside of the box" because you do your most creative thinking inside the box. So when you're constricted to the rules of the game and the rolls of the dice, that is when you can come up with the best storytelling, and it's so juicy.
I really like making business cards because you've got 2.5 by 3.5 or whatever. It's what can you do that's cool? It's not over. If you try to do too much, it's gonna be bad. If you do too little, it's boring. It's what can you do in this amount of space that works?
Why haiku is fun versus just
having free page
prose.
It's I've got a structure that I've got to make this in, and got to be creative within that, which fun.
I like that you can even if you're in a situation where it's my character is supposed to be good at this, but I keep rolling shitty, so they're not good at it. How would your character react to that? Because everybody has moments of, whether it's in art or work or whatever hobbies that you have, there are moments where there's a thing that you are very practiced at, but if you're having an off day, you're not going to be pleased with what you've done. Well, how would you react to that? That's how your character would react to this. I've been training with the sword for my entire life, and I can't seem to hit these things. That doesn't mean I'm bad. It means these things are crazy. And then you just lean into that. And maybe that becomes your character now has a thing where anytime they come across an enemy similar to this, they clam up, or even if you're going ranger, that becomes your favorite enemy because it gave you such trouble. Just
or in almost a similar thing. You've been studying magic for 10 years. You're kind of better at it than most people, and then all of a sudden, everyone else around you is
different
doing
kinds of magic. And I'm what the fuck?
I like the idea that you're this needs to be studied. Because I feel that's kind of where Magnus is floating at the end of this, is you've been studying the arcane for years now, but there are clearly other kinds of magic that need to be studied that nobody's looking into this.
I'm curious, what is it like for Magnus at the same time as everybody else to find out that his brother does magic at all?
I mean,
you fully put together that I did magic, right?
I mean, so I know that you kind of keep everything that you do real close to the chest. You don't like to tell people about what's been going on. But I also know that you've been doing stuff with the headmaster now. You're doing work with him, and I'm how do these guys know each other? Did he learn some kind of did he get access to some kind of learning from the headmaster?
Sense.
So that's where I'm thinking now.
That's a good line of thought.
The gears are turning for you, and Ark is just whatever.
I'm really curious and this is probably as good a place as any to talk about it. Now that we're grown-ups,
Yeah.
I feel like a thing that happens a lot for people who are like, we've been best friends since we were kids, and now we've changed and grown, and maybe the friendship isn't the same. How do we all feel about inter-party conflict at times? Like, not
I'm fine
like
with
killing each other, but like very easily between 4 people who are different now, and 2 of them have been gone for 10 years. There could be turmoil there.
Sure.
And I think that's delicious.
I mean, I
It
think
feels natural to the characters themselves. Yeah.
I can think of 2 things off the top of my head that could already cause this. One of them is the fact that like Brody has clearly been hiding things from his brother, because like keeping things close to your chest and hiding something that big are 2 kind of different things. The other one is Arik. All of your like little woodland critter friends are like, there's like bad things happening over here, and it's scaring all of us, and it seems bad. And then Magnus is like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my dudes. I'm here to come take over. Take over the research. Or at least, grab what I want and leave.
Yeah.
I'm here to carpet bag.
Shit. Yeah, I mean, I already kind of had a struggle with this, like, as Arik, as a kid, like, having an Exardescan, like, I was like, oh man, how is Arik going to approach that relationship? And, like, it became nothing very quickly. It was just like, oh, you're just a person, and, like, I, like, didn't have that prejudice as a kid. So it's like, I don't know, like, it seems like when I get into character, it's just easier to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's also an interesting thing that I don't think we have like explicitly stated, but I feel like it's we talked about it with Cormac, but very interesting that Sam is playing a paladin who seems to have kind of stepped away from the religion they were raised in. And I'm very excited to kind of dive into that as we progress.
I mean, then that could be another point of contention between Arik and Saoirse. Like, I think my powers come from the gods, and like if yours actually does come from the Exardescan faith and light, I don't know.
Well, but even then, it's funny because there's rules as written paladin and how everyone plays the paladin, and they're very.
This is a paladin who's very much a my friends are my power kind of vibe.
Aw, that's adorable.
Because rules as written paladins aren't based off religion at all.
No,
Yeah.
and that seems to be the case across a lot of different like RPG types. They're just kind of a
I
white
love-
mage sort of
Well,
situation.
I fucking loved what's the Boy Scout paladin?
Calder Tanwell.
Calder
Tanner.
Tanwell.
Caldwell Tanners.
Green
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 Beverly.
Team.
Beverly Green
yeah,
Team.
Beverly.
Yeah. But I
From that
love the
pod.
idea that it's like they get their powers from basically being a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Zach Oyama's paladin, who was a firefighter in the Unsleeping City.
Even
Or like when
even Kingsley getting like he's a cleric, but to the people of the city,
Right.
not to a specific like deity.
Mm-hmm.
like when I was playing Riss, it wasn't about
Oh yeah, your oath was to the
faith,
family.
it was to the family.
Yeah.
Even though it was because my mother's faith, kind of, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing that I'm interested in exploring here is that Saoirse has a very strong moral code, but she doesn't necessarily know what it is. Does that make sense? Like, she acts without having considered what the action is for, which is both a benefit. I want her to be a character whose flaws are also her strengths.
Yeah, I think that's a really fun take on chaotic good that doesn't happen very often, which is that like the chaos is from not
Turmoil within.
yeah, and the good is just like a natural moral leaning.
Like
Yeah.
it's strong but
So
not
wait.
dogmatic.
I hate the whatever thing, but chaotic, lawful.
Probably true lawful or neutral.
I think Magnus would be true neutral.
Yeah,
If not
Did I
neutral
make a
good.
note?
Most scientists are.
I think neutral good probably. at least, and granted, I've only seen this character as an adult for a session, but that was definitely the vibes that I got from your childhood. Was like you just have an interest in learning and gaining knowledge, but you also have like a moral compass.
Yeah, I have.
You're not. I don't see you going on the path of at this point in time. And again, that's the great thing about this narrative play is that characters are going to change over time and grow. At this point in time, I don't see Magnus being like the type of wizard who's gonna be like sacrificing souls to become a lich or anything.
No, I was joking about the lich thing earlier.
What, you don't think he would make another version of a phylactery?
A simulacrum?
Simulacrum. Yeah.
I mean,
I mean that doesn't take souls. That just takes ice.
yeah, like I could make a phylactery, no problem. I'm
do
just not
think
gonna.
something so far that's interesting, and I'm curious to see how it changes or if it stays the same with this like first grown-up episode. Is like the Matt Sam table seems to be like the communicators, the group focus, the like we have to band together, guys, to save the world, and then we have like in very different ways too. Like I don't know about Magnus's. Saoirse's is born out of like desperation. Like, if these people leave me, I don't know what I am anymore. And yours seems to be like, well, listen, hey, I'm just a guy. I'm gonna need some backing here.
Like I can throw some armor on myself, but otherwise I'm just like a dude.
And
I've weirdly spent a lot of time alone, I would say.
yeah, you guys seem the independent.
You're the one that has like the driving motivation of the group, though. Otherwise, it's just like I'm off here on my own. Like, yeah, take care of the forest.
I've got
Like from his perspective, I'm like around the town every now and then. He lives up in the university. I'm down in the city. It's actually kind of far away, but I'll just fucking take off for like weeks at a time and stuff.
It's cool. I love the themes of identity and then just magic in general. Which, I mean, was going to come about because of the whole story was like magic came back into a world that hasn't had it. And so now we're trying to figure out what the fuck it is and how it works and stuff. But yeah, and that coupled with our identities, it's just, those are very fun themes.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so excited to play more
Yeah, I
in
really
this world.
want to play next episode.
Well, it's going to be 2 weeks for us.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah, next week we're doing this.
Oh, okay.
And we're doing that on Sunday next week.
We're doing other thing.
Yeah.
The other.
Wink, wink.
The other. other.
The other thing.
Yeah.
Secret project number 1.
Next week is other thing, and then we're off for a week, and then we do that one again, and then we're off for another week.
FYI.
So it's actually going to be a lot
us
longer
playing
than that.
This
Yes, I saw that.
This is just.
It's actually going to be over a month before we come back to this.
No, is it really?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm off.
Because next week is the other thing,
And then I'm out of town the
out
week
of town.
after.
And then we do another other thing, and then you two are out of town. So yeah.
Okay, I don't want to make assumptions about anybody's lifestyles, but what if we all just quit our jobs? We just play D&D
Hold on.
every
We
year.
can just
we're
live in
back
this room.
A second.
Chaos!
Chaos.
We go schedule now.
We get so excited about playing and then realize we won't get to play for another month.